Raw is a TV show about wrestling, and even though we all love to whine and cry about it every week, we still tune in each and every week. So who's the real winner here? Anyway, I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is Ups and Downs, where we go through Raw and decide whether it made us feel really, really happy or made us feel like sad clowns, and nobody wants to be a sad clown. Let's get on with it straight away and get to upping the downing. I really enjoyed everything the WWE did with the women on Raw, so it gets an up. Now, given that Sasha Banks is now champion again, we are in a scenario where the title is being hot potatoed a little bit, and that's never good. In 2016, one of the biggest problems pro wrestling has is that we don't have credible champions, and the best way to build a credible champion is let them have the title for a while, let them defend it, let them do well, and eventually you start going, hey, that's a credible champion. With that said, I thought the match was really good. The angle earlier in the night with the double count out just made Charlotte feel like a bigger heel, and Ric Flair coming out at the end in his hometown was just pleasant. And I like feeling pleasant. It's like it's Christmas and you're 12 years old and you're at home with your family playing the NES. Of course, now we need to see what's next with the championship. I don't know about you, I don't really want to see Sasha Banks and Charlotte go at it anymore. Their matches are fantastic, but every feud has a limit, and I feel like I'm at the limit. But as for the night itself, all great stuff. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I'm intrigued about what WWE are doing with the New Day, but as I like to contradict myself here on Ups and Downs, I'm going to say what happened with Gallows and Anderson on Raw was a down. Let's start with the good. Once again, your WWE Tag Team Champions won by dodgy means, this time thanks to a handful of tights. But before that, they were getting their asses handed to them, so you start to create this picture where it seems that the New Day are worried they won't break the record, so they're like, shit, let's just make sure we get through all of these matches, we have to beat the record. However, this has seen the three run through the tag division like it's nothing. Instead of giving us proper feuds that could have been built up with, my favourite thing, stories, they kicked Sheamus and Cesaro out of there last week, and now they've kicked Gallows and Anderson out of there this week too. That's over the course of 2 weeks. I really hope people start pointing the finger about what the New Day are doing, because as soon as you do that, it becomes more important, and the teams they have beaten have beef to come back with and go, yeah, you didn't beat us properly, and then they're important again. But we'll see. Everything Rusev did on Raw was a massive up. If you do not see him as a future main event heel, well, I don't know what I can do for you anymore. We are on different paths. We are heading in different directions. Also, everything he did made sense. Enzo came out, insulted his wife, made reference to his penis. So what did Rusev do when he got in the ring? He kicked Enzo straight in the balls. He didn't care about winning the match. He wanted to send a message. The down part of all this, though, comes in who in the hell is supposed to be the good guy and who in the hell is supposed to be the bad guy. I don't really care about this stuff because I am part of the problem. But it's difficult for me to hate Rusev when all he's really doing is defending his wife's honour. I mean, you do that, I do that, we'd all do that. You could argue that it's just an edgy babyface role for Enzo, but he also insinuated that he may have sex with Lana. And that's not cool, no matter how you look at it. So Rusev was completely justified in everything he did. Go get him, Ruru. Sheamus and Cesaro, what did I tell you? Go through all the old ups and downs when I talk about them, and I knew they'd come good. Great on Raw, massive up. On Raw, however, they did decide they didn't need to be a team anymore, but that was before they were in a massive barroom brawl where they kicked everybody's ass. And as we know, nothing brings people together more than a massive barroom brawl, and now they're the best of friends. There is a serious upside to the pair staying together for a while, and once this whole Demolition New Day record is out the way, put the tag team titles on them. And I tell you this too, Sheamus is underrated. Yep. Is this a big deal? Not really. But it is very interesting and very weird that if the WWE goes to your hometown, you, as a professional wrestler, are going to lose. It obviously happened to Charlotte during the main event, but it also happened to Cedric Alexander, who too got jobbed out in his place of birth. I've got no problem with Tony Nese getting the win. At this point, the Cruiserweight division just needs a hard reset. But why does WWE do this all the time? What is the point? And if nothing else, it makes these matches really predictable because you start watching them going, is that his hometown? I bet he loses. And then he loses. Surprise me, man. Surprise me. It happened to Sasha Banks a few weeks ago as well. It's just so odd. Given that when he started his commentary, I thought it was going to be awkward as all hell, Brian Kendrick surprised me on Raw when he went nuts and started laying into Byron Saxton. And that was an up. But after one too many barbs at the Cruiserweight champion, he went all crazy, gave the man what for, and gave us an impassioned promo about his life. Now, again, you could argue that this was a very good guy thing to do. I know that I felt sorry for him. He had my sympathy, but more important than that, it just reminds us all that Brian Kendrick is really good. And I tell you what, I am a giant fan of his, and I'm sure that means the world to him. I actually didn't mind Roman Reigns' performance this week on Raw. I thought he held his own with Jericho and Owens, and the match he had against the Universal Champion was alright. But I'm not sure how beneficial it is to Owens' title reign that he just got beaten clean by Reigns on a random episode of Raw. So that is a down. I know it's not the same, but do you think Stone Cold Steve Austin would have just lost on a random episode of Raw? Of course he wouldn't have. He would have wanted the whole thing to mean something, and I know this is all building to the title program between the two, but there are other ways and there are other means to get Roman in that main event. And now what happens at Roadblock? Owens wins by cheating, meaning he now looks weak, and Reigns still looks strong. And yeah, I know that's your traditional heel babyface dynamic, but it doesn't do anything for Kevin Owens. And right now, we should be doing everything we can for Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn going off at Mick Foley when he tried to stop him fighting Braun Strowman was an up. Sami came across as all fired up and he just wanted to beat some faces, and it's a great way to use the guy, given over the last few weeks he's been used terribly. And when I say weeks, I mean months. The down part though comes in the form of the Raw GM himself. Now I love Mick Foley, I really do. I love him, and he gave us everything throughout his career, but not every promo has to be one of these from the heart speeches. It's the classic less is more cliche. If I see him do it all the time, I start to think it's not as real and it starts to become less impactful. He could have easily have chatted to Sami Zayn as a general manager as opposed to a wrestler. It just didn't feel real. Although I did like it when his teeth just came out of his mouth. That was good. Chris Jericho claimed that the fan in attendance last week wasn't Chris Jericho wearing a Sin Cara mask, but it was Sin Cara wearing a Chris Jericho mask. He then informed the fans that they should put it on, man. This all meant that Chris Jericho was a hero. This all meant that Chris Jericho was pure gold. And this all meant that Chris Jericho gets another up. And another up goes to the continued breakup between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. This week, there was no real tease of them getting back together. So we're left wondering, was this the beginning of the end, or was it a plan that just didn't go right? After all, you could argue that Jericho was only pretending to leave the arena so he could sneak back in and get involved in the Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens match. But then, that was scuppered by Seth Rollins, who attacked Chris Jericho in the car park. I'm smart, man. I should write this stuff. Paul Heyman's interview on Raw was one of the best things I've seen in ages. It felt real, it made sense, and most of all, it got me excited about Goldberg versus Lesnar 3. A huge up. It's rare in pro wrestling to see someone go, well, we screwed up, but that just makes the whole thing feel like an actual fight. Lesnar and Heyman underestimated Goldberg and they paid the ultimate price. The fact that Heyman went on to add that Lesnar had actually broken his ribs after that first spear, which ties into the short match even more, just made it better still. The Beast was wounded, surprised, shocked, and now when he comes back, he's gonna be more of a monster than ever. And that was Raw, and you know what? I don't even care. I thought it was a really enjoyable and a really entertaining episode, especially because we're essentially in December now, and usually in December, nothing happens on WWE TV. It gets well boring. But this was really good. Now, don't forget to comment below and let us know what you thought about Raw, and then of course like, share, and subscribe, because if you don't, YouTube just blows up, and that's a fact. Then, go over to WhatCulture.com and read the Ups and Downs article for even more Raw opinions. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and today, go out there and just say something nice to a friend, like, your hair looks really good, or you've got nice teeth. Not only will it make you feel good, but you may get a compliment back, and then you'll feel even better. Circle of life. I'll see you soon.